podcast gives you news that Indian media doesn't.
Indian, even Western media.
Even in Western media.
In Western media is shabbier because they have the prestige and don't touch things. And they're disinformed.
Why would the media lie?
The Jews are a very powerful lobby.
Okay.
In America, all the politics is controlled by the Jewish lobby.
There is a new world order.
The world has changed dramatically in the last 3 years. Now it's a pattern that repeats itself again and again and again.
Two things that India as a country must do on priority to get close to or bridge the gap between us and China.
Education and employment.
How do you create jobs?
Get investments.
When you look at the future from here, you look at it from from optimism.
India has phenomenal potential, but doing well and surviving is not the same as thriving.
Can't not ask you this. The whole noise around AI, is that justified
Yes,
in India's context?
it is justified around the world first. AI touches air, affects everything. Now, what is it that's available? The machine can't make quarter pounds. The machine cannot make a cup of tea yet.
Welcome back to Beyond My Brand with Neeraj Jha. This is Neeraj, your host. Now to today's guest. Many of you will know Bhaskar as a journalist, author and commentator. I know him as all of that and as one of the finest human beings I have had the privilege of knowing. What I admire most about Bhaskar is that he represents the very best qualities of journalism: curiosity, integrity, humility, and an unwavering commitment to understanding the world around him. Personally, whenever I find myself running low on energy, I often make my way to his beautiful office in Chembur over cups of his favorite Chinese tea and a masala dosa from his favorite joint just outside the campus. We end up talking about everything from politics and economics, to society, geopolitics, and life itself. So please join me in welcoming a dear friend, a respected journalist, a thoughtful author, and an endlessly fascinating observer of our times, Bhaskar. Welcome to Beyond My Brand, Bhaskar.
Thank you.
Let's try and unravel the mind behind the journalists. What continues to drive your curiosity and enthusiasm after decades in journalism and public life?
What drives my curiosity? Nothing. It's just that you see something and you want to write about it. Because you want to write about it or speak about it, you do a research on that subject. And both support each other. And finally, when you think that you've got enough material for a story or for a talk or a podcast, fine, then that's it. That's what drives me.
What do you enjoy doing more when not writing or reading or observing things? What do you like doing?
What do I like doing? I listen to podcasts. Occasionally watch movies. Occasionally listen to music. Though I'm having less time, I have less time for music. But I make time for podcasts because they teach me a lot more. See, podcasts have changed my entire approach to news. I get more news about the world from podcasts than I get from the papers. Papers are useful. I cannot do without them. But when it comes to global news, when it comes to nuances about news in India too, podcasters give me news that mainstream media does not. So for me, podcasts are crucially important.
Podcast gives you news that Indian media doesn't.
Indian, even Western media.
Even in Western media.
In Western media is shabbier because they have the prestige and don't touch things. And they're disinformed. Like when you had the Russia-Ukraine war, they kept on saying Ukraine is winning, Ukraine is winning, Ukraine is winning, when every other data point showed that it's not winning. Mm-hmm. Similarly, in the Iran-Israel war, in the initial stages, Iran is a theocratic state, Iran is fundamentalist, Iran is dogmatic, it slaughters people. the truth was quite the opposite. It was people like Mearsheimer, who's a Jew himself, who actually began exposing the lies that Western media was telling.
Why would the media lie? I mean, is
The
the
Jew-
dynamics any different?
No,
there?
the Jews are a very powerful lobby.
Okay.
In America, all the politics is controlled by the Jewish lobby, but not Jewish lobby, Israeli lobby called the IPAC. And the IPAC, it's publicly known now that every congressman gets about $1 million if they support Israel in US government, making people believe that the capital of, that the real Parliament House of USA is not the Capitol Hill, it's actually the Knesset. That is where most decisions about America are now taken. And which is now boomeranging on Trump, that he was elected to be the president of USA, not the well-wisher of Israel.
I say this with some confidence that I've not found too many better experts on China matters. I find it fascinating. I said when I'm here, China takes up bulk of our time discussing China. I find it fascinating, and coming from Bhaskar, I'll obviously have questions on this. There is a new world order, Bhaskar, that one gets to see now. Wanted your thoughts on this. How do you see the emerging global order taking shape in the aftermath of the recent developments in West Asia?
The world has changed dramatically in the last 3 years. So you have a situation where the US is suddenly beginning to appear as one which instigates war. It instigated the Iraq war, but that was seen as a one-off major development. Now it's a pattern that repeats itself again and again and again.
How do you see West Asia? What happened just now?
So America suddenly realized that there's a limit to military power. It decided to wage a war against Iran at the instance of Israel. Who is worse, I don't know, USA or Israel, both a Tweedledee, Tweedledum, exactly the same. Each one says, no, the other person said this, no, this one said it. Israel has a long-term plan of annexing the whole of the Middle East, right from the Euphrates to the sea. It wants to annex parts of Egypt, Turkey, even Saudi Arabia. It wanted to annex Syria and Libya. It managed to create situations in Iraq, Syria, and Libya so that they collapsed. And now they were subservient to Israel and to the USA. It thought it could do that with Lebanon. But in 2006, Lebanese fought back and Israel had to go back. And they knew that Lebanon won because it was supported by Iran. So it wanted to go against Iran. It knew that Iran was very big. Israel is a small country. So it wanted the US in. It roped in the US. And after Venezuela, it told the US, Iran will fall in one day. And Trump believed it. Trump wanted the oil in Iran. Oil is a big story. What drives USA today is oil. It took Venezuela because of the oil. Why did it need the oil? Because the US, even though it's the largest producer of oil in the world, has the lowest reserves. The reserves will not last 10 years. It needed new oil fields that would control. And hence, it annexed Venezuela. Venezuela, the plan worked very well. Without a single bullet being fired, not really, because they shot all the 30 Cubans. USA annexed Venezuela. Whether the annexation will continue, I do not know, because there's talk about a coup emerging from Venezuela. And then a thought could do the same thing with Iran. They had cultivated a network of sleepers in Iran for about 20 years. At the right signal, they erupted into a protest on the street. To trigger the protest, 2 months before the protest in February 28, in January itself, the US allowed the currency of Iran to collapse. It just collapsed. Most of the people in Iran are traders and businessmen. They saw the collapse of the currency. China and Russia realized Iran was crucial for Central Asia, and both decided to support Iran.
Is this permanent arrangement? Or you
I think it'll be permanent. It'll be permanent because geography is more everlasting than human relations.
Yeah.
Russia wants to create a network of roadways and pipelines, and China wants to do the same thing of roadways, bridges, and pipelines
Yeah.
for the Central Asian plains, going right from Vladivostok on the eastern side right up to France on the western side. Effectively making all the sea routes of America. America is a maritime power. Making the sea routes redundant. All of a sudden, you find that commerce is moving from the bottom, from the seaways, to the north. You also find that America remains a superpower in military terms. But China is number 2. Russia is number 3. And maybe number 4 would be Iran. Militarily. And economically, once the sanctions are lifted, Iran could become a very powerful economic force.
So this is the contour of the new world order.
Yes, again, there's one more thing. When the Ukraine war began, and then when the Middle East war began, there were only 3 countries talking about peace and non-escalation of war. China, Russia, and Iran. Everyone else, unfortunately even India, were talking about war. India's war came with Pakistan. It was planning to defend itself against China. It kept on sending its troops on the borders of Bangladesh when Sheikh Hasina was there. Now suddenly, even for India, everything has changed. Pakistan, because it became a mediator, has risen in esteem. Pakistan is supported by China, and now India knows it cannot attack Pakistan. Effectively, there's a truce between Pakistan and India. And what many people don't realize, in the last 1 year, there have been 3 major meetings comprising retired generals, retired IS officers, heads of think tanks, and guess who? RSS bigwigs. On the other party who will be participating are are Pakistani generals and Pakistani administrators and think tanks.
Yeah.
They've had the meeting in Muscat. They've had 3 meetings in the Middle East. And they are talking on ways in which Pakistan and India can work together.
That's news.
This is interesting because India now suddenly realizes that what Xi Jinping told Modi when he had visited India, and Modi and he were at Mahabalipuram, Xi Jinping told him that it is time we had a zone of peace in this region involving China, Pakistan, and India. Modi chose to ignore it. Indian papers didn't talk about it, except Hindu. And what he told in 2019 is actually happening right now.
Where does this leave US in this new? It will continue to be a force, right?
Yes,
Or it will be a new US post Trump.
No. The US is in a very tricky situation. Right now, Trump has decided to have a peace deal with Iran. The 14-point MOU has been signed.
Yeah.
For 60 days, the oil sanctions have been removed from Iran. Okay, good. Very few people realize, and this is something we've written about and we've done a podcast about, very few people realize that Trump had no choice. He had no choice because ever since the war began on 28th of February, he thought the war would be over in 2 days. In these 3 months, February, March, April, May, and now June, in these 4 months, the US has been depleted of its strategic oil reserves. There were 450 million barrels in April. Today, they're estimated to be 200 million barrels. The US has enough oil in its strategic reserves for lasting it only for 20 days. If there were no peace, now, in 20 days' time, America would have no fuel for its aircraft, no fuel for its battleships. There'd be sitting ducks. The war would have been over, and America would have seen oil prices climb to $200 per barrel. That would have meant Trump would lose the elections. He was caught in a jam. If he agrees to have a peace deal, the Israel lobby will go after him. And they're big financiers.
Yeah.
If he agrees to go with Israel, America's bankrupt, he'll lose the elections in any case. And the people sitting in the room will testify to what I said. They've been approached by American officials. This is what Lavrov said. But what Lavrov said at that time is now beginning to sound very true given the given the way Indian officials are behaving. They did not protest when Indians are brought back in manacles and shackles as illegal immigrants. Colombia protested, won, and got the shackles removed. India was weaker than Colombia. 2, they did not protest when Iranian sailors were shot off the coast of Sri Lanka, even though they were guests of India at Visakhapatnam. Naturally, when 3 Indian sailors were shot down by America as violating sanctions, none of the countries in this region protested against it because India did not protest. At the time when they were supposed to protest, why should you protest now? India was being isolated. And if that is not enough, we made the cardinal mistake of giving instructions to all our embassies not to sign the condolence register when Ayatollah was slaughtered. That he was slaughtered is itself condemnable. Not filling the condolence book was unacceptable. And for 4 days, we didn't condole the death. Till the war in the Middle East began, and India wanted oil, wanted fertilizer. And then our Prime Minister spoke to the President of Iran. And Iran's President was gracious. He said, of course, India's a friend. We'll make sure that you get the ships. So, India's lost its ability to stand up for itself.
The whole, that's the sense I get that Pakistan ended up, I don't know if brownie points is a correct word, but they've ended up redeeming themselves in the new global order. And we seem to have got left behind. Is this correct?
Yes. First, the military. For the first time, Indian planes were shot down by the Pakistani and the Chinese. Of course, we attacked them, but their attacking us was momentous because this has never been done before. Okay, they had help from China, but then we have help from Russia. Our BrahMos is a joint venture of Russia and India.
Yeah.
Everything said and done, Pakistan showed that it had the ability to fight back. In global eyes, Pakistan was not something to be discarded, a renegade state, incapable of having a disciplined military. And then came the situation where Saudi Arabia decided to ask Pakistan for 15,000 soldiers to be stationed there. Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, and Iran became the new quad for the Middle East. Some people call them the Islamic NATO.
Islamic NATO.
Yes. And then lastly, it became the negotiator. Not India, which talked about peace. Pakistan, which used to be a terrorist state, became a negotiator for peace and has done a pretty commendable job. And India has been left out.
Where does it leave us now? I mean, will we be able to come back?
We can come back. We can come back provided we do 2 things. 1, history teaches us, and this lesson is evident today also. When you try to create a civil war because of religion, you are destroying yourself. It's happened to Israel, which is born, bred out of hatred for one community. It's happening in Myanmar. Myanmar thought that the minority is only 10%. We can easily beat them down. Result?
Backfire.
Civil war. Result? Myanmar, which is a growing economy, is now a broken economy. Never provoke a minority. You will actually end up destroying yourself. And without harmony, economic growth becomes difficult.
Without harmony.
Without harmony, social harmony is crucial for economic growth. I'm not surprised that our economy is doing badly for the last so many years. Third, if it does not have social harmony, it will have problems in all its border states. Look at the Northeast, everyone's on fire. Look at Ladakh, which is having a total burn just right now when we're speaking. Punjab is restive. West Bengal, the killing that's taking place in the villages, which mainstream media is not talking about, is worrisome. India needs to bring about social harmony. Point one. Point two, India needs to make friends with all its neighbors. Earlier, we had friends with all our neighbors. Today, except our Bhutan, not a single country is a friend. And that is a little worrying.
Pakistan seems to have, occupied a disproportionately large place in India's politics, media, cricket, and television debates, if these are any hints. And much of it appears to me, at least by design. From Bollywood to television debates, from politics to cricket, entire ecosystems have built narratives around Pakistan and often profited from it. Yet China, arguably a far more significant power, strategic and economic power, it doesn't seem to command the same level of attention. I mean, how do you see this?
China, when I was a cub journalist, I remember Business India's publisher, Ashok Advani, telling us at his weekly meeting, during his weekly meetings, that when an elephant walks through a village, all dogs start barking. Do you see the elephant getting agitated? It's supremely confident that not a single dog will come close. And goes about walking almost at the same pace, no run, no hurry, and goes away. He said, when you're supremely powerful, you don't have to make a noise, you don't have to make a song or dance about it. China believes in that. It knows it's powerful. Why talk about it? China knows the atrocities that Japan committed in Nanjing, when every girl above the age of 12 was taken as a sex slave. And people are shot, massacred. China never says, hum ghus ghus ke marenge. China keeps quiet. It'll fight its own war as far as possible without killing anybody. China is a different kind of culture. You may not like China. You may hate China. But the fact is, China stood more for peace than many countries. Please remember that India-China border, which is the longest border India has, was peaceful for 50 years. There were more people being killed on the Indo-Pakistan border every day. On the Indo-Bangladesh border, we had skirmishes with Sri Lanka. Except for 2 skirmishes with China, the border was very peaceful. That is not given by the mainstream media.
Wouldn't that, wouldn't this, somebody use this to say that this is Bhaskar's love for China, bias for China that's saying this?
Yes, it is.
It is?
It is. Look, it's a question of bias in a different way. I admire China because it removed its entire population from poverty, technical poverty, which is $1 a day. There's no Chinese who is poor by statistical measurement It's lifted an entire generation out of backwardness, out of what it called the century of shame, and has given them pride and said, I am a Chinese.
From 80% poor in the early 80s
80s.
to now.
In 1980, we were both of the same GDP.
Yeah.
China 6 times bigger than India in GDP terms. Second, I go to China once in 2 years to give a talk there. And once I had a German girl who was working in the same think tank as which I had visited. It was 8 o'clock, 8:30. My leg is not very good, so I was walking with a stick. And this girl had taken a cycle. She preferred not to cycle, but she preferred to walk with me. Walked me to the hotel, which was on the way. When we reached the hotel, I said, okay, let me drop you at the station. She said, why? You'll have to walk back again and there's no one with you. I said, no, I can manage. She said, you think I can't manage? I said, it's dark. She says, let me tell you one thing, Bhaskar. I'm safer in China than in Frankfurt. In China, a girl can walk at 12 at night and not have a single person catcalling at her.
This was which year?
This was about in 2018. And this was in Shanghai.
Yeah.
A society that does not respect women is a society that's not going to grow. Because eventually it's a woman who keeps the family together.
Yeah. But is that a problem that you see in India?
Let me give you one simple example, which I've done a podcast on recently and I've written an article. In 2013, in the Muzaffarpur episode where a girls' hostel.
That brings me to the next question I can't not ask you. You've been a keen observer, sharp observer of India. You know, its society, its democracy, its politics, and its economy. How do you think it's evolved, changed over the last 45 years of your journalistic career?
I mentioned just now that a society that does not respect women will not grow. But equally, a society that does not respect education also does not grow. At this time, when we talk about Hindu pride, Hindutva, has anyone asked why is the Banaras Hindu University in such shambles? 50 years ago, it was a brilliant university. Okay, the previous government spoiled it. Your job was to revive it. Why is it that in the Ram Mandir you find that money is being stolen away, which is a pride project of the government? Why is it that 1 lakh schools have only one teacher for all classes, for all subjects? Why is it that 40% of the schools run by the government don't even have a laboratory? And why is it that 80% of the schools don't have internet connectivity? These are all government data published, spoken of and tabled in the Lok Sabha, in the Rajya Sabha. So I'm not saying anything that is a private record. These are public documents.
Two things that India as a country must do on priority to get close to or bridge the gap between us and China.
Education and employment. Without education, you're not prepared for the new world. How will you migrate from one set of jobs to another set of jobs? You need flexibility. For that, you need to read and write.
And how do you create jobs?
Get investments. For example, go back to 8 years ago. 90% of the unicorns in India had been funded by Chinese patient capital.
Yeah.
You banned Chinese investments. Our unicorns have stopped. We are still producing unicorns, but not at the rate that we were.
Right.
Here was someone, okay, you're saying that China is taking money from India. Yes, but look at the money it's made India generate. Don't look at the money going out, look at the money coming in. That is a negative view. A positive view is both grow together.
Yeah, good. Two quick questions, Bhaskar, on, it's mostly to get a sense of India then and now. When you compared the India you first began reporting on way back, what has changed the most from the India of those years to now?
I've seen India from the license Raj, where you had to wait for about 6 years to 10 years to get a telephone, to the liberalization we saw. We thought there'd be more liberalization. Unfortunately, the second term of Manmohan Singh was marked by high corruption.
All kinds of scams.
All kinds of scams. Corruption eats away at the energies of a country. And that's why Manmohan Singh too was not as productive or creative as Manmohan Singh was.
A lot of energies went into.
I think Manmohan Singh was aware. He tried to stop it, but the ruling dispensation would not allow him.
Mhm.
Today we are almost as bad as the license Raj, but with a level of corruption that's huge. Let me give you two examples. I wanted a GST number. GST number should be automatic because it gets the government money. It doesn't give me money.
Yeah.
It's 3 weeks, I've not got it yet. I've appointed an agent to talk to the person. I'm sure the agent will take care of the person. I've asked for a couple of other things the government has to give. Again, same. To do simple things takes you so much more time. It looks as if someone wants speed money. That's one. Take the number of road collapses, bridge collapses.
A lot of them in Bihar, my state.
Bihar, you had 12 collapses in 13 days.
Yeah.
Gujarat, which is supposed to be touted as an economic model, look at the number of crashes there. What this means is that you give projects, infrastructure projects to people who are not very competent or who are willing to give the money as graft to somebody and use substandard material, whatever the reasons. The fact is we spent on infrastructure, but we have not lived up to the standards, to the minimum standards that infrastructure should have. When you have that, you're doing two things. One, you're promoting corruption, and two, you're giving a country with no infrastructure or bad infrastructure. So that's one thing I've seen happening. The second thing I've seen happening is the fear of the taxman, of the raids, of the seizures. The Food and Drug Authority threatens every chemist with dire consequences. His products are moved off the shelf for genuine or not so genuine reasons. This is wrong, that is wrong. But another product which has those deficiencies is allowed to continue. A very simple point. I've heard of substandard drugs, okay? Cipla is a well-known company. Cipla has a throat gargle at half the price of the market leader. The FDA does not allow it to be sold through chemists. They said this is a generic product, should be sold only from generic product establishments. The common man can't get that in his local chemist. Half the price from a good company. Who's responsible?
Oh.
FDA. Which is supposed to be which is reported to be a cash cow.
Why would it do this?
If you don't give me the cash, I'll make sure your products don't hit the shelves.
You're favoring somebody.
That is what it appears to be.
Okay.
It appears to be. So corruption has increased. Your social disharmony has reached levels that are frightening. Maharashtra has started talking Aurangzeb instead of talking industry. I mean, that's a point that shocked me. I thought Maharashtra was an industrial state.
When you look at the future from here, you look at it from from optimism or
India has a potential. India has phenomenal potential. Indians will manage to circumvent everything and still do so well. But doing well and surviving is not the same as thriving.
correct.
To thrive,
Two things you said India needs to do. One is education, jobs.
jobs. And there's a third,
Healthcare?
implicit, actually healthcare. There are two more implicit things. Healthcare. You can't have a sickly population generating wealth.
What will it take to government to do? Make it free?
Better governed. Better governed. Let me give you an example. You have the IRDA, the Insurance Regulatory
Development.
Authority, which is in charge of insurance. Which agency knows every price of every ailment? The insurance companies, medical insurance companies.
Correct.
Make IRDA the nodal agency for identifying hospitals. Even investing, you'll have to change the rules. Let IRDA invest in hospitals because IRDA has the ability to send huge volumes of patients. When I send you one patient for blood test, the cost of blood test is 100 rupees. When I send you 10,000 patients for blood tests, your price will not be more than 5 rupees.
That's interesting. Yeah.
So, get IRDA to be in charge of insurance and hospitals that should get insurance
I'll
patients.
change the name and the constitution and everything else.
Today, IRDA can't invest because of conflict of interest.
Yeah.
You know the crisis is great. Change the rule. Get IRDA to take charge of hospitals and let the insurance companies control the quality and the price of Medicare because they can generate volumes. Point 2. You have to get social harmony back. Without Medicare, you will not be able to get a healthy population. And let me give you one more example. FDA's sister company, FSSAI, which is a certifying agency of food products.
Yeah.
It gives the same number of stars to a soft drink company like PepsiCo or like Pepsi or like Coca-Cola or whatever. The same 4 stars or 3 stars or whatever that it gives to milk. FSS says, but they're 2 different categories. Don't combine them. I said, does the consumer know what categories? He looks at the number of stars.
That's all that he looks at and matters to him.
And then he says, ye bhi healthy hai na, ye bhi healthy hai. Dono mein itna stars hai.
Yeah.
Are you promoting sickness? 9 teaspoons per liter of per small bottle of soft drink. You're asking children to take that? You're already the diabetes capital of the world.
Yeah.
This is increasing your medical costs. And because once you get diabetes, you have other costs that spiral out of control. Other treatments are required. You mean you can't stop that?
How is it in China? Healthcare?
Oh, brilliant. China has 2 kinds of medicines. One is TCM, traditional Chinese medicines, which is like Ayurveda. But I had an upset stomach once. I went there. The girl and the boy who was supposed to take care of me, they work both as interpreters as well as guides, both. They went to a TCM shop and then came back a little embarrassed because the TCM shop asked one to know whether my motions were solid, whether they're liquid, whether semi-solid. The girl didn't know how to ask a guest and a senior guest all these questions.
Yeah.
The boy said, sir, I'm going to ask you some personal questions because the chemist wants to know.
Yeah. In English. I mean,
He talked to me in English.
Yeah.
Went back and translated.
Yeah.
The man gave me a bottle. 1 dosage, the bottle. The bottle is like an injection vial. There's a rubber cap. And they give a straw which is strong enough to pierce the rubber cap. You pierce the rubber cap, slurp up the entire content. That should take care of me, of my ailment. And truly it did. The bottle was hygienic. Unlike your Ayurvedic product, which is so loose also. 2, the prices are low. And 3, they were effective. You want to promote Ayurveda, first get your systems right. Make sure that the dosages can be standardized. That the bottles or the vials in which it comes are properly described, of what percentage, what, everything.
Yeah.
So the TCM and the regular medicines. In hospitals, for my leg, I went to the hospital to see if acupuncture could help. It didn't help me, that's a different thing.
You didn't?
It did. It didn't help me because the ailment that I have cannot be cured. Okay? Later, I did a genetic test to find out that was a molecule that had mutated under my spine, which is the center nerve pathway. And that was blocking messages going to my leg. I said, can you operate on it? No, it's too deep inside. We don't have the technology today, both in India and in China. Okay, so I have to live with it.
This was how many years back?
Just recently, 2019.
Even today, China doesn't have this technology. Pierce your...
To go inside the spine, it can
Delicate,
hurt
right?
other
Right,
nerves. So that is they don't touch the spine.
Yeah.
Unless the spine is broken. Then it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Then you have no choice. Otherwise they leave this. That is why they don't open up the intestines. That's like a hornet's nest. Some places you don't touch because it's too complicated.
Correct.
But what I'm trying to say is, I went to the hospital, clean, neat. Yes, there were queues of 5 or 6 or 10, not 200. Go outside AIMS, they're standing on the queue on the roadside.
Yeah.
Go to KM hospital, see the people camping on the night at night on the streets because they could not be attended to the previous day. You are humiliating Indians.
You need more hospitals, right? That's what it means.
Exactly.
That's...
Again,
You
here,
need investment.
there is no investments are not there. You need will. Let me explain why. Every government hospital is in a prime location.
Yeah.
Every government hospital.
Correct.
Just give it an FSI of 10.
FSI and... Yeah.
Give it an FSI of 10. Let them make 10 floors. You don't have the money. Get a private developer, a private hospital, build this hospital, put in the equipment. You can use your patients.
Yeah. Capacity
So,
also.
provided so many patients are given to us free of cost. You build a capacity, increase the capacity. The builder builds a place to get a 50% share. Equipment comes in, systems come in. India doesn't want systems because you have corruption. Till today, for the last 20 years, you've been saying, please computerize inventories for government hospital. So I may have aspirin in abundance. You may have penicillin in abundance. For penicillin, I tell my patients we don't have penicillin. And I put an indent for further purchase of penicillin when I could have just taken it from you.
Yeah. I've always believed that education and healthcare, it should be in government's control, I think.
That's what the Constitution says.
Yeah.
That is what the Constitution says. But the government has allowed private sector to come up.
So we may have had more colleges and universities now, but I'm saying the quality has suffered.
And quality and the prices have gone up.
Prices gone.
For substandard price quality, we're paying first-rate salaries. Education especially has only 2 philosophies in the world. One is the American philosophy that every university must generate money to cover its costs.
And they
The
are doing
second
it
is the
beautifully.
European philosophy that education is the state's responsibility. You have the right to select the most intelligent, the most capable student, but the costs must be kept low by the government because the benefits come back to the government with the student being there and interacting with our students.
Correct. Government's beneficiary, ultimately.
And some of them stay on
Yeah.
to work in crucial areas.
Yeah. But within even...
China has followed the European model.
Yeah.
Let me give one more example. Why I like China? 25,000 Indian students are studying in China for medicine.
Yeah.
Why? Because a 5-year course in medicine, including residency, costs you under 25 lakhs.
Agreed.
In India, 1 year costs you a capitation fee of 1 crore.
And world-class education.
And here the quality of education is terrible. Their quality is high. Look at the number of Chinese universities in the top 100 and you'll see that how Chinese universities have climbed.
Yeah.
India was in the top 100. It has been slipping out.
Correct. So education, healthcare. Jobs.
And jobs. And the fourth one, crucial, is social harmony. Without which education fails, healthcare fails because they're killing people, you're maiming people.
Yeah.
And job creation fails. Nobody likes a society where there's violence.
Yeah. We'll switch now, track a little bit, Bhaskar, and it's again, something that is quite up your alley. Now, lessons from you've had, you've observed leaders, institutions, brands, and public figures over several decades. Now, I would like to know from you what makes leaders truly credible beyond communication, visibility, and messaging. This is, core heart of what I do. You would have seen leaders and brands.
For me, the best leader that India got, or let's say the two are the best leaders that India got, were Lal Bahadur Shastri and Narasimha Rao.
Any other business leader comes close?
Look, there are many people who are phenomenal, whether it's Tatas or Adani or Ambani. Everyone has made money, generated wealth. But no one comes very close to Azim Premji. Again, Azim Premji has a vision for education. He's put all his shares, he owns 70% of the company, put all his shares in the trust.
The trust owns 70%.
Yes, and all the dividends come to the trust, and those dividends are the ones that finance his charitable cause of education.
Philanthropy, correct.
I find that endearing. Few industrialists have put all their money, all the dividends into education. This man has. He's put his money where the mouth is. And you will never see him tom-tomming his achievements. You will never see press releases from Wipro.
Others do?
Every other company sends its press releases.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Wipro sends its annual press release when it's result time. It says this is the income, this is the thing.
Yeah. What gives you hope when you look at India's future?
It's people.
People.
India is a very inventive, tenacious people.
Inventive.
Inventive.
So when you say inventive, and unless it's coupled with research orientation or the wherewithal for research, isn't that something that we're missing?
Yes and no. Look at India's history, and for that you have to go to one of our podcasts, which is how India bankrupted Rome.
Sure. Do you think degrees are becoming irrelevant in today's India?
Yes, if they are degrees which give you a certificate, but the underlying skills are not there.
Okay.
A degree at the college level is meaningless unless you've got good education at the school level.
Okay.
Bad output of the schools becomes bad input for colleges, which gets bad results and degrees.
What's your take? Is hustle culture real or just glorified burnout? A lot of this we hear.
It does not matter whether you hustle or don't hustle. Everyone's earning money.
Yeah.
Everyone's got a goal. So long as you can generate wealth and a sense of well-being all around, it's good.
Fine. What's the biggest mistake young professionals are making today, right now?
I won't call it mistake again. The mistake that most people make are shortcuts. But sometimes shortcuts work. If you're a genius or if you're very lucky, shortcuts work. But generally, the ability to think patiently, the ability to discipline yourself for a long haul is something that most people in the current generation appear to be losing.
What trends are people underestimating right now? Is there any trend that you see being underestimated or overestimated?
People underestimate the ability of Indians to withstand calamities. This is because of two reasons. One, the Indian has a social network which supports him. If I'm without a job, my relatives look after me.
In India?
Much of India. I'm not talking the urban phenomenon. If you're in a village and without job, I go back to the village and they look after me till I can find a job again. So I've got a cushion.
Yeah.
That social network is what protects Indians and allows him to bounce back with a new idea.
Okay. Which industry do you think will completely transform in the next 5 years? Any industry?
Almost every industry will get transformed except for those that are conceptual, economists, thinkers, social networkers. Machines can't socialize as yet.
Yeah.
Getting people, inspiring them to think differently, that is where good mentors and good teachers come in. That cannot be replicated by machines. And of course, the ability to see what is available and see what more can I offer, that is not available. The ability to sift the available from the not available. That comes when your education is good, when you've been told to be curious about everything at a very early age with your children, so that when a challenge comes up, I look around, I can use my thinking to decide, okay, machines can do this, machines can do this. What is it that I can do? Maybe I can fit a tap.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do some carpentry. Maybe I can do something that the machines can't do. So each one has to find a different gap for himself.
Yeah.
And then go in for skilling himself to meet that objective. So the ability to filter out the chaff from the grain is a crucial ability that is made in school days.
Can't not ask you this. The whole noise around AI, is that justified
Yes,
in India's context?
it is justified around the world first. AI does something that very few people have. When computers came in, they did one job but left others unaffected. AI affects everything. So all that I am left with is looking at what machines can do, which requires a certain amount of understanding, a certain amount of analysis, a certain amount of reading. And then, okay, it can do typing, it can do dictation, it can do paraphrasing, it can do this, it can do this. Now, what is it that's available? The machine can't make vada pounds.
Yeah.
The machine cannot make a cup of tea yet. Maybe yes, at some time, but it won't be cost effective. So each one will have to decide what is it that the machine cannot do. The machine cannot invent a new kind of a chip that goes. The machine actually goes only laterally. Now it only goes sequentially. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. The machine can think that way. The human being can think laterally. He goes off the sequence and creates something totally different. That lateral thinking, which Edward the Bono talks about, is what I want schools to teach children. How you can go beyond the logical and create something which is out of logic.
I'll take off from this teaching point. You've written a book on Adani, the industrialist Gautam Adani. It's done phenomenally well. Not the Hindi version's also out. What is
Hindi,
there?
Gujarati, Marathi, 3.
Wonderful. So what is there to learn from Mr. Adani's life?
What is it? How culture supports you, how value systems support you, and how tenacity and the ability to discern patterns of business allows you to grow faster. So that's it. But even though I've written the Adani book, I still prefer my first book, which is Game India.
Which is Game India.
Yes, which is about strategies that India can pursue to steer itself to wealth. I wrote that in 2019. I still think that's relevant for India today.
This was 1990, right?
1919, yes. 2019, sorry.
1990.
2019.
6-7 years.
Yes.
When you look at India's future, is it optimism? Is a lot of optimism, or
If
you're
you can
concerned?
if you can control social discord, yes.
Okay.
If you can't, India will get fragmented into bits.
Okay.
So instead of Akhand Bharat, you will have a Khandit Bharat.
Wow, what a way to summarize this. We've come to an end of Bhaskar's, the guests part of, the. Now it's my guest's turn to ask me a question or two. It's his wish, and he can ask me anything, and I'll be happy to answer. Then we'll go into a rapid fire, which is something that you'll find very interesting.
No, I don't have any question, but a suggestion.
Please.
Keep episodes shorter. It works beautifully.
So it'll be shorter.
That's okay. No questions.
It'll be short only. It'll be short only.
Okay, go ahead with the rapid fire.
So
You would love to fire me.
no. So mostly yes or no, but it's up to you. One word that best describes India today.
Has the potential. But one word. Lost.
Lost. One quality you admire most in people.
Vision.
Vision. One quality you find most overrated in leaders.
Arrogance.
Arrogance is overrated.
No, overrated. Okay.
Overrated.
Patriotism.
Patriotism. Okay. One book every young Indian should read.
One book?
Every young Indian should read. Young India doesn't read as much.
One book that young India should read. I tell my students read Brave New World, Aldous Huxley.
Aldous Huxley. Okay.
Brave New World.
Okay. Brave New World. One person living or dead you would love to have dinner with.
Well, he's Korean.
Yeah.
Yes.
One film you can watch repeatedly.
Judgment at Nuremberg.
How many times have you watched it?
I've already watched it about 8 times.
Oh, yeah.
And I watch it every time I show my students a movie.
Have you watched a movie called Dhurandhar? Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Okay.
I don't think I want to watch it.
Okay. One indulgence you refuse to give up.
Mischief.
Correct.
Yes.
I agree with you. One lesson journalism taught you about human nature.
Only it won't be one word. Everything works in greed and fear.
Everything works in greed and fear. Please explain.
You do something because you're greedy for money.
Mhm.
You're greedy for sex.
Yeah.
You're greedy for power. You're greedy for whatever. Greed drives you.
Okay.
And fear drives you. I don't want to lose it. I don't want you to beat me up.
Okay.
So the two powers that drive people are always greed and fear.
Okay. One thing you wish more Indians understood about India. One thing you wish more people understood about India.
Compassion.
Okay.
Compassion. Whenever India has grown, it's because there's compassion.
Historically, ever since.
Historically.
Yeah. And it ties well with your argument that we need to be one society, we need to be
Social harmony.
social harmony. At this age, what still excites you most about the future? At this young age?
The potential.
Potential.
Potential is phenomenal. Remember, India and China had that ancient DNA calling.
Yeah.
How to make money, how to prosper. In India, successful governments taught India how to not to prosper.
Okay.
It took the gold away. It brought in laws to control temples, to control gold.
Temples have a lot of gold now. Our temples have a lot of gold.
They had even before because temples owned lands. The
Yeah.
British brought in a law where temples had to declare which were the land holdings because the temple may be in South India, but some devotee may have donated his lands in Uttar Pradesh. So the British wanted a record so could tax accordingly.
Yeah.
And the present government does the same thing of making sure the temples don't go beyond a point. Why is it that even for the inauguration of a temple, you don't call the high priests of religion, you call politicians for inauguration?
Bhaskar will ensure that my podcast gets banned before it's taken off. So, lovely discussion I had with Bhaskar. What is that called? No holds barred. So it was fantastic, discussion that we had, and we covered vast ground and topics. Some even getting close to, as I said. To my viewers, thank you so much for watching this, and you've been wonderful, as I said in the past. Keep showering your love and affection and support. We are here. Thank you so much once again for watching. Thank you, Bhaskar.
Thank you.